Hello everyone, welcome to week 10. I feel like we're getting closer and closer to the finish line of this semester, so kudos to you guys for staying the course and hanging in there. I know it hasn't been the easiest thing to juggle school and work and family life and just self-care, so I admire many of you and really all of you for being able to do that, and have been really impressed by my check-ins with you and your field instructors. I've been hearing all great things, so I look forward to finishing out those first rounds of visits in the next 2 weeks. So if you haven't heard from me as of yet, and you know you've received an email from me, but we've been trying to figure out times that work best, I also put in the reminders this week is to make sure that you take the time this week to sit down with your field instructor and throw out a couple dates and times that work for you both and send me an email. Then that way it's easier for me to schedule as opposed to emailing you both and then trying to, I think if we can just kind of get ahead of the scheduling piece, that'd be awesome. So I want to check in at least 1 to 2 times with each of you guys. And I know it can be hard without schedules, but we can try to make it happen. Great. So that was one important thing that I wanted to start with this week. The other thing is you have 2 assignments due this week. The first one is your discussion post. And what I really like is that you're going to be thinking about the clients that you serve at your agency and identify the systems in which they operate, right? So there's a micro, there's a macro, and then there's a meso level that impacts your clients in a way that have led them to your agency for assistance. So you're going to talk about that, and then you're going to talk about the second part, which is to assess the identified systems, micro, macro, and meso, and provide a clear explanation of how the systems may impact your clients. So I'll give you a really brief example in case you're kind of wondering where to start. Is I have students who I serve in the emotional support classroom setting in the state of Delaware throughout the Christina School District. And it's a mental health program that's geared towards trying to keep students in their traditional school settings as opposed to having them misplaced or sent to an alternative schools for behaviors. So on a micro level, more working with individuals and families, that's where the therapy comes in with our therapist who works in each classroom. So we have a therapist assigned to each classroom. So that's more of the individual micro level of treatment that we provide. But on a macro level, that's more so the school, right? And so the school and the stipulations in which kids who have special needs and mental health diagnosis have to be served, we have certain guidelines that we have to follow. And then sometimes things are outlined in their IEPs or what's called a functional behavioral assessment, kind of like a behavior plan, that type of thing. So that's the macro part of it, right? But then on a meso level, we have various educational laws, we have funding issues that pour down into us on the ground level and our students and being able to service them. And we also have, things that really feel like they're out of our control because they're more so the laws about us having to provide a public education to students. So I'm interested to see where you guys see your clients in each aspect and what kind of systems impact them. So your first initial post is going to be this Thursday by 11:59. And then you're going to have your follow-up post by this Sunday by 11:59, where you're going to respond to at least one of your classmates who don't have any responses yet. And then you're going to address any additional alternative systems that might be involved and that were not discussed in the initial post. So I'm really, really interested in seeing what you guys get out of this discussion post this week, since it is something I think is it can be easy to dismiss the various levels when we're doing a lot of the micro work, which is working with individuals, or we kind of get frustrated with the levels that even if we do identify them, because on a meso level it's really hard to bring about that change. So I'm interested to see your feedback. So that's your first assignment due this week. Your second assignment is your very last field reflection. So you guys have been doing a really awesome job with that. I actually don't have too much for you. I know you guys, this is your third go around, so you guys are doing an excellent job. So you're going to talk about your caseload. Of course, if you don't have a caseload, kind of picture like what your client contact has been like. For your field agency, learning activities such as in-service seminars, it can be webinars, it can be study groups, clinical group supervision. I'm interested to see what other learning activities you guys have been participating in. And then you're going to describe a case or new learning task educationally challenging to you as a student since your last reflection. What I would really like to see, and I'm not sure if I mentioned this before, if we can try to really dig deep. I know sometimes some of us will say, well, I don't have a new learning task that has educationally challenged me. And, you know, I haven't had that opportunity since the last one, but I want you to think deeper and deeper to that. It could be even something where you're like, I had a client, I wasn't sure what treatment modality I should reach for because the trauma was so profound, or maybe they were so complex, like you didn't know where to begin. And that can be educationally challenging for you, right? Maybe it's educationally challenging for you to receive supervision, maybe from someone who you thinks differently than you, but still can operate in the same professional window and follow the code of conduct, code of ethics, excuse me. I think I'm at school today. So I'm interested in really trying to push you guys for question number 3, and really trying to figure out something that you either questioned or had some concerns about, because that can lead to a challenge. So question 3, really try to give me an answer, okay? And for number 4, you know, you're going to choose one of the competencies that you identify with and go into detail more with that. And then number 5 is you're going to describe your supervision since your last reflection and how that's gone and how many times you've met, and what you're really getting out of supervision or feel like you're not getting out of and wish you could. So those are your 2 assignments due. This field reflection log is due this Sunday by 11:59. The other thing that I wanted to mention is that if you guys plan to attend the live field discussion this week, please RSVP by this Tuesday at 11:59, because then I can let anyone else know who's RSVP that we will be having a live discussion this Wednesday at 7 p.m. Also, be sure to keep up with your hours as we come closer towards the end of the month. Your timesheet will be due, so make sure you plan to get that signed and uploaded to Sonia by the end of the first week in April. And I'll remind you guys as the weeks go on as well. Alrighty, well, if you guys have any questions in the meantime, please feel free to reach out to me. If not, I look forward to seeing you guys on Wednesday. All right, bye-bye.